I remember when I was 6 years old. It was the happiest week of my life. I'm Duke, by the way. I'd asked for a snow globe for Christmas that year. And instead of getting me one, they took me to a huge mountain lodge in Switzerland. I got to live in a real-life snow globe. Dad suited up as Santa, and he gave me a toy truck that I could ride all around the mountain. Our neighbors were there too. The Simmonses were our closest friends, and Mr. and Mrs. Simmons gave me a set of snow tires for my toy truck. But life was no longer like that. In a sad turn of events, my family lost it all. Dad got into some trouble with the law, and although he got cleared of all charges, the damage to his reputation had run its course. And now, my parents and I live from paycheck to paycheck. The one thing we got to keep was the house. Ugh, you're really coming to the office in that shirt my mom gave you? Why? What's wrong with it? I wore that last year. People are gonna notice. It's embarrassing enough that people think we're friends. That's Kaiser. He's the son of the Simmonses, our neighbors. He used to be one of my closest friends, but since Mom and Dad weren't the richest in our neighborhood anymore, Kaiser stopped hanging out with me, the complete opposite of his parents. Now, my parents and Mr. and Mrs. Simmons were closer than ever. They treat me like I was their own son. They'd fuss over me and give me anything that Kaiser wasn't using anymore. That day, I had to go apply at the same company he worked at. It was his dad's idea. He convinced Kaiser to lend me an interview. Kaiser despised the idea of me working in the same place. And on second thought, maybe I shouldn't have accepted the job when I got the offer. It was no mystery that Kaiser was jealous of how his own parents cared for me more than they did him. And that was why, from my very first day there, I was treated poorly. Kaiser had already poisoned the well. He told everyone all sorts of rumors and lies about my dad. And so they disliked me. I was given impossible tasks, piles upon piles of work that others had discarded. Whenever Kaiser made a mistake and screwed up, he'd blame me and people would believe it. And when they assigned me tasks, they would wait until the very last second to give them to me, so that I would struggle with the deadline. But I persevered. I got myself a tiny apartment in the city so I could do more work. I kept my head down and did the work because I knew who I was doing it all for. I wanted to help my family. I wanted to get us back where we used to be. But the universe smiled down on me when I made a new friend. Well, friend might be too strong a word. One night while I was going to bed, I got the fright of my life when I looked out my window. There was a girl out there, sitting on the branch of a tree, staring at me. I almost called 911, but she looked so pitiful. I opened my window, and the softest voice came from her. "Please, I'm hungry." I let her in through the window and fixed her a sandwich. She thanked me with the biggest smile I'd ever seen. She told me her name was Kara and that she was homeless. I gave her a key to my place, but she refused. She came back every night, though, and every night my heart felt lighter and my stress melted away as Kara made me laugh with her stories. One night, while she was telling a tale about the time she mistook a horse for her uncle, I was laughing so hard, I literally fell off my bed and landed too close to her. My face was an inch away from hers, and our eyes met, and we just looked at each other for what seemed like an eternity, until I felt myself turn red and I pretended to go get more sandwiches. While cleaning up Kaiser's desk at work one night, I found a suspicious hidden compartment in his desk, and it was a bunch of shredded documents. Something compelled me to put together the whole thing. I spent hours on it, but when I read it, shock overtook me. "So, I leave you to fix up a mess and you snoop around my things. You did this! You did all this to my family! You were the one who gave the bogus anonymous tip to the IRS! We lost everything because of you! As you deserved. If you tell anyone a word of what you found out, I'll make sure your family will suffer an even greater defeat. Now that I'm about to be named CEO, I could do whatever I want. My first order of business will be to fire you." Kaiser dug in deeper. To show his power over me, he ordered me to kneel in front of him the next day as the office watched on. He made me swear loyalty to him. In exchange, he would let me keep my job. It stung. It hurt my pride, and I cried that night. But I had to do it for my family. Are you all right? Oh, Kara, you're here. Thank God. I hugged her, and I poured out all my worries, and Kara held me and comforted me. I have a secret to tell you. What secret? I've known about you for a long time now. I went through exactly the same thing you did thanks to Kaiser. Wait, what? You know him? Kara nodded. I'm his older sister. I was supposed to become this country's richest heiress until Kaiser had the bright idea that he wanted it all for himself. He paid some people to get rid of me. They locked me up in a box and put me in a cargo of an old tanker. Made Mom and Dad think I was lost or taken, but I escaped and I swam back to shore. I've been in hiding ever since. I saw how devious my little brother let his jealousy and greed take over him. I saw how he toppled your family. Why didn't you do anything? I couldn't. His men have been looking for me ever since. I needed to bide my time until the time was right. And now is the time, Duke. I need your help. You know the ins and outs of his office. I need your help. Say no more. We moved in the shadows. I showed her the way around back, and I boosted her up so that we could both enter the loose ventilation grate. We snuck into Kaiser's office, and once there, we sent an email to all the board members, calling them in for an emergency board meeting. But just as she hit send, an alarm sounded off. We had no time. I lifted Kara up to the vents, but the office doors burst open and several guards grabbed us. I fought them off, protecting Kara so she could get away. Go! Leave me! You have to get away! I'm not gonna leave you in here! One of the guards tried to grab me, and I dodged and kicked. Another came to lunge at me, but I was too fast for him, and he ended up crashing into the bookcase. But more and more of them came in, and just as we were getting cornered, a booming voice came from the door. What is the meaning of this? The guards stood at attention. Chairman, we caught these two breaking in. Common thieves, most likely. Please allow us to apprehend them. The old man took his ivory cane and hit the guard on the head with it. Have you lost your wits, boy? That's my granddaughter you're trying to harm. Kara ran to her grandpa and hugged him. The guards apologized and they filed out, leaving us in the room. I knew something was wrong when you disappeared. Kaiser, that boy, the stench of greed is about him. And who's this young man? Kara introduced us, and at about midnight, all the members of the board finally arrived. They were gathered at the executive boardroom, and Kaiser was the last to get there. When he saw me, he raised his eyebrows. What's this peon doing in here? Did I somehow hit my head and I'm living in a nightmare where you're a board member, Duke? Get out of here and get me a coffee on your way out. Who called this meeting anyway? It's literally midnight. Kara came out and everyone gasped. I did, and I invited a few friends. They know all about you down at the station, my brother. Be sure to pack a toothbrush. Two officers came up from behind Kara and cuffed Kaiser. In every board member's folders were the information about everything that Kaiser had done. His parents were shocked, and they banished him from the family and their lives. As Kaiser was being taken away, I whispered in his ear, Fun fact, as of tonight, I am a member of the board. I took your place since your sister and I got engaged just now. So sad you were late for it. No! You can't do this to me. I'm Kaiser Simmons. I am your leader. No! I can't live in prison. I can't. Tell them to stop, please. I'll change. I'll do better. Let me work here. Don't fire me. I laughed at his desperation. I pity you, Kaiser, but a sensible man doesn't invite the snake into the chicken coop. You're the snake, in case you didn't understand that, and I will never allow you to come near me or my family again. Together, Kara and I ran the company as a power couple. The company soared and reached new heights, and we branched out and multiplied our profits. We got married 2 years later. And in that ceremony, my parents and the Simmonses finally became one big happy family. The bells tolled a happy tune as they released the doves, and Kara and I kissed to a bright future that awaited us.